How would you like to perform in your life and in your career like a world-class athlete? Working with some of the best athletes on the planet, including NFL players, world champions, and Olympic athletes, I've learned that the best of the best use equal amount of time training their brain as they do their bodies. I'm passionate about helping people live and think powerfully. And I've also come to believe that we can use the same principles that they do to help us thrive, experience more success, and step into our unlimited potential. But the number one thing that is getting in the way of our unlimited potential is ourselves. And what gets in our way of our unlimited potential and ourself is more likely to be an internal block than an external one. And I also know this from personal experience. When I was a senior in high school, I ran the fastest mile in my state, breaking multiple records that still stand today. I expected to become a world-class athlete. I received a full-ride college scholarship, and I expected to become an Olympian and a world champion. But when I got there, I don't know what happened. I would crush the workouts, but crumble under the pressure and choke in the races. I felt like a head case, where I would constantly compare myself to other runners. She's faster than me. She's fitter than I am. She's stronger than me. I felt like I was not enough, and I didn't even make it to nationals. I felt like a failure. And my inner limits prevented me from stepping into my full athletic potential. And I was compelled to figure out what in the world had happened. And that's how I have a PhD in sport and performance psychology. My purpose today is to provide people with the tools I wish I would have had so they could knock it out of the park under pressure. Adversity comes in many forms, including actions and circumstances of others that we can't control. One year, for example, I spent time interviewing rookies that were coming into the NFL. And it turns out that those athletes who were focused on things that they could not control, such as the general manager's decisions or the media or naysayers, were cut from the team. For us to be mentally strong and remain mentally strong, we need to focus on the things that we can control. The world's best athletes focus on what they can control, and they know the difference between what they can control and can't control. They accept what they cannot control and dominate the rest. Our inner dialogue is how we make sense of experiences and actions in our life and the circumstances around us. And world-class athletes continuously level up their belief about themselves and their capacity. And you can perform like a world-class athlete to be the best in your craft using the same techniques as they do. And here are 3 of their success principles that you can use too that will make the biggest difference in your life to improving your performance fast. World-class athletes see adversity as happening for them. Many of you are familiar with the classic study by Angela Duckworth on grit, which is the passion and perseverance to go after your goals with a deep commitment despite adversity and setbacks. What we will publish in Beyond Grit for Business is a study a graduate student and I conducted 2 years ago, where we asked professional athletes how they developed their grit. Well, what was completely shocking to me was that 75% of them had overcome a significant adversity to actually become a professional athlete. Their own cancer diagnosis, a season-ending injury, a parent's divorce. Grit comes from adversity. It was the adversity that allowed them to become a professional athlete. Now, you might be thinking, what's different about these professional athletes? Well, rather than feeling victimized by things that they cannot control and circumstances outside their control, they continuously find the opportunity. World-class athletes see adversity as happening for them, helping them step into their dreams and helping them reach their goals. And this is something that you can do too. Now, you may think that the more you beat yourself up or the harder you are on yourself, the better you'll perform or the more you'll achieve. For years, I thought that. And I thought the more critical I was of myself, the better I would do, the more I would perform. Which leads me to my second point, that world-class athletes let go quickly. When faced with adversity or setbacks and difficulties, you may replay that event over and over again. You're like on a continuous loop. But world-class athletes know that they need to move on really quickly. And when we do this, it helps us stay in the present moment. Because we can take failure so personally. We can believe that we are the failure. You can believe you're inadequate and your confidence suffers. And this is important because your mind can be in only 3 places at once: the past, the present, and the future. And world-class athletes know that they need to move on quickly. So when I'm teaching teams this idea, I teach them a mental recovery method called Learn, Burn, and Return that I developed with one of my graduate students several years ago. And we teach athletes to move on that fast, okay? So could you snap with me now? How fast? That fast. The first step in learning from the mistake is to think about what you learned. When I teach teams this practice, we do a few actions. Would you be willing to try them with me now? Yes. Okay, let's do it. So the first step is learn. Put your hands on your temples like this and say, learn. The first step after you've made the mistake or experienced the difficulty is to think about what you learned. You might even start the sentence with, next time I will. And notice how I said that. You want to take a non-judgmental, factual approach to your mistake, even despite that you made the mistake. Now the next step is to burn. By burn, I mean let it go. You might say let it go or burn it, or you could say that fast and snap. Will you snap with me now? How fast? That fast. Nice. Now the third step is to return. And when we return, we want to keep our body language and self-talk confident. We want to think and feel confident despite the mistake we just had, or the mistake we just made, or the difficulty. And this is important because you want to tell yourself the truth, the absolute truth about yourself, such as, I'm a strong and confident person, or I can do anything I put my mind to. Now, the action for return is to stand up tall and keep your body language tall. So could you sit in your seat, and could you put your hands on your hips and sit nice and tall? Nice. Great job. All right, so let's make sure we remember this so it sticks. So with me, after each action, will you say the word? So learn, burn, return. Nice. One more time. Learn, burn, return. Just like the best athletes, we want to have a short-term memory of our mistakes and a long-term memory of our successes. And this is important, essential, because when we're on that replay loop, our mind is constantly thinking about the past. We want to keep our mind focused on the present to help us be the best we can right here, right now. Your brain powers everything that you do. Your physical body, your emotions, your thoughts, everything about you. And your mind is your engine that powers you and the future that you dream of. This gets me to my third point, and that is that the best of the best, true champions, are a master of their thoughts. What you think about yourself, you become. And the world's best are constantly, continuously leveling up their thoughts, especially about their belief in themselves and their capability. So think of it like this. High performance equals your potential minus your inner limits. Think of your potential like a bank of money, your potential account. Your inner limits that you believe are a withdrawal from your potential account. You don't have to believe every negative thought you have. And the thoughts that you believe are the only ones that hold power over you. So next time you experience an inner limit, I'd like you to try the truth meter. Now, could you think right now of a limiting thought or an inner limit that you have? Would you be willing to do that right now? So let's apply the truth meter. First, is this thought true? If you're like most people, the thought is not true. Number 2, does this thought serve you? By serve you, I mean, does it help you step into your potential? And number 3, what is a more empowering thought that you could choose right now? While I did not realize my dream of representing the United States at the Olympics, I just finished providing mental performance coaching to the USA track and field team this summer in Tokyo, so they could knock it out of the park under pressure. In every conversation I had with these elite athletes as they were preparing for Tokyo, I asked them 2 powerful questions. What do you really want? And what do you really need to believe about yourself to get there? Stop playing small with your life. When you experience an inner limit, like self-doubt or disbelief or negativity, use the truth meter and remind yourself to train your mind each and every day. Because you are a champion, and you can perform like a world-class athlete when you train your mind using these techniques to help you step into your full potential every day. So, what is it that you really want? And what do you need to believe about yourself to get there? Thank you.